marriage, domestic life, marriage, family, and residence. Now, it's so interesting to me when we try to, our textbook coming from this cultural relativism perspective is just trying to be detached and descriptive, right? They don't want to give any value judgments like this is good, this is evil, this is good, better, best. They just want to show you different ways people look at marriage in the world. And the first question I have for you all, thanks for those of you who have your videos on, it's nice to see some faces, but how would we define marriage and a universal definition of marriage that would apply across the globe, across history? Would someone like to take a shot at it? A universal definition of marriage. Anybody? Come on, talk to me.
Well, like, I don't know if, like, because scripturally it talks about, like, two becoming one. So I don't know if that's, like, a concept that's, like, stretches over multiple cultures. But my assumption is that it's kind of similar.
Oh, okay, that's, you're taking that from the Bible?
Yeah, but, yeah.
Okay, but how is that? So are you saying that that group of 5 women and 1 man that we just saw are not actually married based on that definition?
That's a great question.
What's that, Autumn?
I said that's a great question. If we're talking about, like, worldview, like, cultural, like, general.
Yeah, I'm asking for a definition of marriage that is universal and would apply across all cultures.
I guess it would be like a formal agreement between 2 parties. So, I mean, it could be
2 or more parties?
2 or more parties. So it could be like the polygamy that we saw, or it could be just a man and a man and a.
Okay, but how's that different from just like a building contract or a domestic housekeeper contract, or what's making it a marriage, I guess is the question. Because we can have contracts, right? But not all and in the United States, marriage is a legal binding contract. That's why it's done through the civil courts. But that's a cultural distinctive of America.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
I feel like it's tricky because, like, in some cultures, like, they set you up with your, like, husband or your wife, you know?
Yes.
So it's united by love, but then, like, in that situation, it's not. It's more. So, like, I don't know what would definitively answer that. You know?
Right. Well, let me give you 2 broad categories. Maybe this will help you. There are romantic type marriages and there are contractual type marriages. By the vast majority, most marriages in the world are contractual, not romantic. That's very much like an American influenced by Disney concept. This idea that you marry for love or romance, or, you know, your Prince Charming and your princess bride. It's so much a part of our American culture. And we're enculturated with that ideal, especially young women, of these fairy book weddings and, you know, your handsome husband, your knight in shining armor and all this. But that's very much a cultural spin on this idea of marriage and romance. Most cultures in the world, they're marrying for economic reasons, for survival reasons, for companionship reason. And marriages aren't necessarily just about 2 people, like in our culture. In a lot of cultures, marriage is between 2 families. That's why it's not left up to the individuals. You're bringing a whole other group of people into your family orbit. And so it needs to be a family or group, sometimes even a tribal or national decisions, right? And you're familiar with that with Western history. Many people in power, like kings and queens, etc., their children didn't get to marry for love. They had to marry for political expediency, to broker a peace, to expand the kingdom, to avoid a war. Those are contractual. Now, romance or love, affection could grow over time, but that is not the primary motivator for marriage. I think Netflix right now has a matchmaker show on about Indian culture, subcontinent of India, where it's all about these professional matchmakers trying to make good matches for young couples and their families. And the couples, the young people do have a say on whether or not they'll accept, but they're not the ones going out trying to find a mate. That's like done professionally by this niche job market in India where they have, most people have arranged marriages. Even a lot of Indian immigrants to the United States still follow those practices from their homeland. And many of those marriages are quite successful and quite enduring. And there is love and affection there that comes over time. So I'll save you some time here. I think the book even gave up on trying to find a universal definition of marriage. It was just overwhelming, right? To try to find something that would apply across the board.